Happiness through curiosity on the Ranveer Show. What was life like in your 30s? You're still in your 30s. You're 38.
Late 30s now.
But when you just turned 30, this is a conversation again I've been having a lot on the show. Because even for the average guy, even non-athletes, something switches in your body post 30. Suddenly you're lifting a suitcase and your shoulder gets a little small niggle. And you're like, okay, that used to not happen even 2 years ago. So there's some change in your hormonal profile, which then leads to few more injuries than normal. And you suddenly realize, okay, I'm starting to age a little bit as a guy. And I spoke to KL about this as well. And he's like, yeah, even I'm noticing this a bit. Did you have any phase like that where you suddenly start getting injured?
Yeah.
How did you deal with that mentally? Because it's difficult even for someone like me who's not an athlete.
So how I dealt with it was I went through real life kind of experiences because I between the ages of 25 and 30, I practiced a lot because I was going through a period of transformation of my technique. So I was pursuing the test cap because I haven't played test cricket, and I really wanted to, for me, I really want to play cricket, and for me that is the highest level of cricket, test cricket, right? And pinnacle of cricket, I would say. And for me, I want to play at that level. And I believed I was there, but I was pigeonholed at a very young age into being a white ball cricketer. And my technique also at that point had a lot of gaps. Even though I was scoring runs heavily in red ball cricket and Ranji trophy, I was always picked for white ball cricket internationally when I played for India. Maybe because at that time and the day and age we were in, the only person who was playing really aggressive cricket was Virubai. And UV, and to a large extent, Mahi came along in 2007. So, and I think the underlying competition at that point with Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, Saurav Ganguly, Virender Sehwag, Gautam Gambhir, Yuvraj Singh, VVS Lakshman, it was packed, you know. So I was lucky enough to make it to the white ball squad, but at that point wasn't able to make it to the red ball squad. And so I said, okay, let me give myself the best chance to pursue that. I don't know if it'll happen, but I want to pursue it. And I want to give myself the best chance to pursue it. So I said, okay, there's a gap in my technique. Let me put all of my efforts towards cleaning up that part of my cricket and scoring runs so heavily in red ball cricket that I will be noticed and I will get an opportunity. And that process or that pursuit began in 2012. I hired Praveen Amre as my personal batting coach, and we were mocked at that point because at that time the concept of personal coaches didn't exist anywhere in cricket. People had their childhood coaches, but they didn't have anyone they worked with day in, day out, or a trustee that they had in there as a part of their team, right? And that they could go and be vulnerable with and share their strengths, weaknesses, doubts, and kind of garner strength or, you know, even correction perhaps. In cricket, that didn't exist. Everything was more self-managed. I think Paji, in a sense, was ahead of the curve like that, Sachin Paji, because he had his brother. His brother was his mentor, coach, and someone he always spoke cricket with. I can't remember a lot of other cricketers having one person like that in their lives. So okay, you know, and I love tennis, so I've always followed tennis. So I was like, hey, in tennis, people always have their own personal coaches. And there's a reason that they have created, even though it's an individual sport, they've created their own team, right? I was like, yes, I'm playing a team sport, but it's also an individual sport if you look at it, because it's got so many skills within the team. There's an opening batter, there's a middle order batter, there's a all-rounder, then there's spinners, and there's fast bowlers. So different skills. So it's also an individual skill set. So cricket's also an individual game as much as it is a team sport. So for my individual skill, let me hire my team. So let me get my coaches on board. So Praveen Amre was someone that I've worked with in the past. So I was like, okay, sir, would you do it? I remember I was sitting in Spain at a bus stop and I gave him a call. I went on a holiday by myself after the 2012 IPL. I was in the top 3 run getters in the IPL, but our team came dead last. And I just wanted to switch off from cricket. And I was like, okay, I really want to, at that time, I just kind of began recovering from my clinical depression, and I rekindled my passion for the game, the game.
Was this Pune Warriors India?
Yeah.
Okay, throwback.
Sahara Pune Warriors, yeah.
Go on.
And I was batting well, and I just found my passion for the game again. So that passion to play for India again was there. I was like, okay, I really want to make a comeback. And in that process, Sir was our batting coach then, and I was like, I really had a great rapport with him. And then I called up Sir. I was in Europe, and I remember sitting down in a bus stand in Spain, and I said, Sir, calling you from here, sir. I said, I want to. So I remember I was joking with you about, and I actually joked about this with him in 2012 in the IPL. I said to him one day, he had asked me, like, one match against Mumbai Indians, I got out where I had a big initial movement, and then the next match he said, Robin, just trust me, don't bat with an initial movement, just bat, just stand and just watch the ball and bat. And that match against RCB, I scored about 70 or some 35 balls. And then I said, after the match, I joked with him. I said, sir, maybe you should become my personal batting coach. Like, you know how tennis players have personal coaches? You should become my personal batting coach. And he had a laugh about it. Cut to me being in Spain, I called him up and I said, sir, can you be my batting coach? He's like, okay, wait. Achrekar, sir, was still alive at that point in time. He said, let me ask my coach. And I said, okay, sir. He said, call me in 20 minutes. Then he went to Achrekar, sir, spoke to him. And Achrekar, sir, gave him his blessing. And he said, okay, you can coach. So then I called him back. He said, okay, I'll coach. So I said, this is exactly what happened. I still remember sitting in that bus stand. So I said, sir, you tell me your fees, sir. He said, Robin, you give me 1 rupee Guru Dakshina, that's more than enough. I said, no, sir. I said, you're adding value to my life. You also have a family. You also have kids. And if I get that for free, I probably on some level will not value it. I have to add value back. There has to be an exchange of value. At least the energy of exchange of value, you know. I said, so let's figure it out, but let's do it. And then we started then the first kind of professional one-on-one kind of coaching setup, so to speak, or personal coaching gambit in India. And we were ridiculed initially, like, what is this whole thing and all that.
But it led to the KKR phase also.
Yeah, it led to everything. Like 2 years of work that went into that phase. It just was mad work. I abused my body. Like initially, Ranveer, I think as an adult, to unlearn something is harder than learning something new. And I went through the process of breaking myself down to my foundations as a human being and then rebuilding my game again from scratch. There were times, so many times, in that first 6 months of working with Praveen sir, where we stopped practice because I'm crying. I'm crying because I've forgotten what I've known naturally, that came naturally to me as an athlete. And I'm in the process of laying the foundation of learning something new. And I don't know if what I'm doing is right or wrong. And as an adult who's playing cricket at almost the highest level at that point in time, I'm pursuing a comeback into the Indian team. I'm top scoring in the IPL. I'm scoring runs in domestic cricket. To go through a phase where your domestic cricket is 2 months away and you don't know if the defense you're playing or if what you're doing is right or wrong. Number of sessions where Praveen sir said, it's okay, let's stop now. We'll come back again. It's okay. Because there were times he would push me to the point where he'd be hard, but he'd also be soft. He knew how to ply both sticks with me. And he did it so beautifully at that phase. I'm very grateful for him in that phase where he literally handheld me. And I said, sir, you travel me everywhere. Literally my first game. And I told sir, I don't think I should play Ranji Trophy this year. In 2012, I don't think I should play Ranji Trophy this year. I think I should wait for another year and play next year or play just white ball cricket. He said, Robin, I know you're only 20% ready, but trust me, with this 20% also, you'll score runs. Maybe you'll score runs a little slowly, but you'll score runs. And that season, Ranveer, I scored 720 runs. And for the first time in life, I scored 720 runs in 1,500 balls. One thing that became solid at that point was my defense. My defense became solid.
Which you initially learned in childhood.
No, like for me, I was the opposite. I didn't know how to defend. I'd only keep hitting the ball. I would just smash the ball. And like, so much so that even though like a lot of cricketers changed their ages, I didn't change. Even though I was playing legitimately, people thought I was overage. Because I'm also Kurgi. I'm half Kurgi, half Mallu. Very proud of both sides. So I think being a hybrid in that sense, an Indian hybrid in that sense, I was much bigger than a lot of my kids my age, much stronger. And for that, I was perceived as overage. at a young age. And also because of the way I played cricket very aggressively, and people couldn't relate to how I was playing so aggressively while everybody else wasn't. There was a stark difference. So in that sense, slightly ahead of the curve. And so defending was not a part of my game at that point. Taking the attack on, being aggressive, dominating attacks was my game. And that's how I even played for India eventually. Because I stayed true with that. I learned defensive cricket from 2012.
Did the defensive cricket add value in your IPL stint with KKR?
Sure. As in a sense, not necessarily add value, but that 2 years of setting up my game again and building my game up from scratch, multiple beautiful things happened. One is I grew enormously as a human being, and I was doing all of this, mind you, when I was recovering from clinical depression. I was on medications, recovering from clinical depression. I was finding myself as a human being. I didn't know what I liked, what I didn't like. I promise you, I played for India and won a World Cup and all of that. It was all while not knowing myself at all as a human being. I was 21 when I won the World Cup. I was 20 when I played for India. I didn't know who I was as a human being. I was someone who just went with the flow. One thing I knew is I'll go with the flow. I know God will take care of me. I know I'll be taken care of. I know I'll do everything well. That's all I knew. I was very confident about those things. I didn't know what I liked as a human being. I didn't have values in my life. I didn't have principles in my life. I didn't have standards in my life. All of that started forming at this stage when I was recovering from clinical depression, reforming my batting from the foundations. I was discovering myself as a human being. Some of the hardest times in my life, but today when I look back, it's one of the times that I'm most grateful for in my life because I evolved and formed as a human being then. I became me then.
This is what the average cricket fan doesn't understand about what one calls the orange cap.
Yeah.
This is what goes into getting an orange cap.
Genuinely, for me, the orange cap was a byproduct of the work I put in for the 2 years prior. And I've kind of digressed into this conversation, but the abuse that I've put my body through in that phase is immeasurable. I was 25, 26. Bro, we finished the IPL in 2013 and I moved to Mumbai. I changed bases. I cut off myself from everybody, from my friends, from my family. I didn't speak to my mom and dad and my sister for 2 years. I did not speak to them on the phone for 2 years. I cut off myself from friends for 2 years. Like I had one friend, 2 friends. My wife, who was my best friend then, and another friend who had become my mind coach then.
Like a psychologist?
Yeah, it's like a mind coach. Because I knew everything I was going through. I needed someone to guide me with my mind. I needed to form the right thoughts, the right patterns, the right exercises, the right disciplines. So my brother-in-law actually, he was someone who worked very differently with, and he was a tennis coach. He was a national tennis player, and he worked with kids and worked with under 14, under 16, under 18 India number ones at that point in time. And he worked with them very differently. And I was like fascinated by the way he worked with people, worked with those clients. And then I was like just talking to him. I said, dude, would you mind working with me? And he said, yeah, sure. And then he practically jumped ship and worked with me for like 3-4 years, 5 years, till 2016, 17. He worked with me and then we parted ways. And like helped me again discover a lot of things about myself, pushed me to like meet certain standards that Praveen sir perhaps wouldn't have pushed me to. Like there was a phase, like I finished the 2013 IPL and I moved to Mumbai because I was like, okay, I want to fix this because 2012, 720 runs in the in domestic cricket, in red ball cricket. Then I was the highest run scorer in Vijay Hazare, which is white ball cricket, one day cricket. T20 I didn't play. Went to 2013 IPL. No, T20 I played a little bit. 2013 IPL. 2013 IPL again, top 5 run scorers in the IPL. And I was like, okay, I have to get this test, make this comeback this year. And I said, okay, let's move to Mumbai and let's practice. Immediately after the IPL, moved to Mumbai and lived here from 2013 to 2016. And in that time, started practice immediately. Went to MCA, hired the MCA because I'm not a Mumbai player. Hired the MCA, paid money, invested into my cricket. And these are things that cricketers didn't do. And a lot of cricketers still don't do. We all love freebies. Let me say that. They don't understand that. And I would love for youngsters to understand that the best investment you can make in yourself is in yourself. The best investment you can make for yourself is in yourself. Invest back into your cricket. And a lot of people don't understand that. Whether it's fitness, whether it's training, whether it's nutrition, whether it's cricket coaching, whether it's hiring a mentor or a batting coach or a bowling coach, invest into yourself. Because those you will value because you're investing into yourself. The investment that you make into yourself, you'll be the one person who say, मैंने पैसे दिया है बेंच, मेरे को वापस चाहिए. I want something from this.
I would always assume that cricketers have these kind of conversations with each other.
No.
No? Is it just it's
Predominantly.
Hey, if you enjoyed this clip from the Ranveer Show, we've uploaded a ton of other clips related to a ton of other topics. So explore the channel because there's something for everyone.